up, you guys? Welcome to the April 22nd edition of NBA 3-Ball, presented by Established to Run. I'm your host, Mike Gallagher. Getting ready to talk about one piece of news in a ridiculous 12-game slate. Fun, but a lot of injuries, so let's get to it in 10 minutes. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe, please. Got good news in Lakerland. Anthony Davis expected to start today against the Mavericks, expected to play around 15 minutes. Said he's 100% after he was kind of playing through pain early before he kind of got removed from the lineup for that calf issue / Achilles tendinosis thing he was dealing with. So yeah, he'll probably be a straight four-man, so that obviously affects Markieff Morris the most. I'd also expect the guards to suffer here. Kyle Kuzma also would suffer a little bit because the lineups would just generally be a little bit bigger here. They wouldn't run Kuzma at the 4 and all that stuff. So yeah, all those borderline Lakers you've been using maybe in a deeper league, probably got to start thinking about moving on from them. Let's get right to the basketball action. So much to talk about, starting with the Cavs. Sexcel's hot real estate market right now, Sexland. Both of them went off. Just easy buckets all night for both those guys. Darius Garland totally in control of his game. So shaky. I love watching him right now. We got Larry Nance Jr. back. Did cut into Dean Wade a lot. They did have some overlap together. Certainly going to cut into Isaiah Hartenstein quite a bit, so those guys are drops. Not as much ceiling on Kevin Love. Jared Allen said he's not quite up to speed as far as understanding things, but the minutes are starting to be there, hanging around 30 minutes. Should trend up a little bit more too. Bulls just got absolutely stomped. They were trailing big pretty much this entire game, down 30 at one point. It's bad. I mean, this team may have to start tanking right now. They have a top 4 protected pick from the Vooch trade, and they're missing Zach LaVine right now. Kobe White's playing actually a little bit better, but they really took Vooch out of this game, couldn't get him going after he had a really good game coming into it. So, yeah, it's pretty rough right now in Chicagoland. To the fun game of the night. Kidding, not quite, but it was fun. The Pacers and Thunder. Oshae Brissett starts, doesn't check out till midway through the second. Gets 42 minutes, smashes, 23-12, 5 stocks, runs the floor all night. I mean, what a game for him, man. We knew they were out of centers, no Goga. Jakar Sampson got suspended. So this is obviously a fluke. They'll have Jakar back for sure, but possibly Goga, possibly Sabonis. But don't forget, Oshae started at the 4 in the last game over Justin Holiday, and I mentioned in the last edition that Bjorkgren kind of wanted to mix and match, see how Brissett does in the starting lineup. And after this game, he kind of has to start now. So obviously you're not going to expect this, but I do think Brissett could kind of hang in that 23, 24, 25 range. Not exactly a per minute guy that's going to pop, but yeah, I'm kind of into it. If we do find out that Sabonis and or Goga are out, I'd be a little bit more inclined to pick him up, but right now kind of just a deep league guy. OKC drops this one, hangs tight, lots to talk about here. Darius Bazley, again, is the headline. 25 shots, attacked all night, 9 free throws. He's really getting to the line a ton. Mark Dagnall talked about that a lot last time, mentioned that previously. And then Pokashevsky, who Gary Hardman in Slack called him Pukoshevsky, which was great because he was ill, could not return, wasn't on the injury report. And also, no Lou Dort did not play. This news came after the Pacers sat everyone, so maybe that was a factor. But yeah, Svi Mykhailiuk picked up all the run. We'll see. I think Dort comes back pretty soon. Obviously, Poku hopefully should be back from the illness. They play again on Friday. Suns get the win. Chris Paul's the man. Big game from Mikal Bridges as well. Jay Crowder rolled his ankle. Did not return, presumably not going to play in a revenge game against Boston. That obviously sets up Cam Johnson if you want to stream him. Maybe a little bit longer. We know they're going to let him shoot a ton of threes in this offense. Sixers extremely shorthanded. No Ben Simmons for that stomach illness. No Tobias Harris for that knee thing from last weekend, surprisingly. And then no Seth Curry for a recovery injury, so he's probably back today. Joel Embiid also expects to play. He was questionable with a knee recovery injury, so that's obviously back-to-back related. They get the Bucks. Doc Rivers said after the game that playing the Bucks in a back-to-back was a disadvantage. Keep an eye on that. Also, Shake Milton maybe in the doghouse here as Tyreek Maxey kind of iced him out a little bit. George Hill also getting in the mix. But yeah, Shake's kind of off the board right now. Raptors get the win. The headline here is Chris Boucher hurts his knee. He is going to get an MRI. No, very noteworthy before. He was pretty much a straight 4-man, which I had mentioned back on the 15th. Nick Nurse kind of talked about wanting to play at the 4 so they could play Freddie Gillespie and Birch more at the 5. So, Boucher's value was really trending down before that injury happened. So now, only one game left this week. If you're kind of do or die, you certainly, even before we find out the MRI, you need to make a move now. I don't hate the idea of dropping Boucher if you need to make the move. Pascal Siakam was marvelous. Mentioned the matchups, he's been driving a ton right now. So when he's out there and playing, you got to feel good about him. OG also, huge third quarter from him. look great. Birch looks really good. And Freddie Gills, man, 5 blocks. Got compared to Ibaka a little bit after the game from Nurse for his blocking ability. He's pretty good, man. So probably more of a stream, but his upside's arguably higher than Birch's is. Nets really shorthanded here. Basically went with a 5-man rotation. And Blake played the back-to-back. Didn't really do much with that time. It was really just a Kyrie Irving and Bruce Brown show. Bruce Brown looking like PJ Brown out there with the rebounding impact he made. But yeah, nothing really going on. Shamet kind of disappointing. We know Harden's out for a little bit. KD may come back. Nash kind of opened the door. He could return over the weekend. So I don't hate the idea of dropping Shamet if you've got to make hay. But we know KD will be a little bit limited. I think he'll be better. But Bruce Brown, yeah, I mean, if you want to add him off that, got to feel pretty good. Another bad injury, Denny Avdia, hairline fracture to his leg. Looked terrible. Jordan Bell actually covered his leg when the injury happened. But he's out for the season. We had Davis Bertans start the second half for him. He's been deemed healthy by Scott Brooks, so he should be playing quite a bit, even when Rui Hachimura makes it back. Rui Hachimura, more of a day-to-day thing. And then also the other headline here is Daniel Gafford. That minutes cap may have went away. He played awesome today against the Warriors' second unit, mostly got some minutes late. We know Brooks wants to run 3 centers. He says he loves that idea. But if he could kind of inch his way up to 20, 22, 23 regularly, I mean, he's going to be putting up some real nice block numbers. So looking pretty good there. Westbrook also did have a triple-double, but I'm tilting because everyone's talking about how great of a game it was, and he had .64 points per possession in this game after the .45 because he had triple-double. Oh my god, triple-doubles! God, I can't stand triple-doubles anymore. Warriors dropped this one. Steph Curry finally falls off. He's been defended so well, just been making it all freaking week, month, whatever you want to call it. But the Wizards defense is playing a lot better. And that's not a fluke to me, so don't just ignore that when you're looking at DFS. Bazemore's minutes kind of spiked here after he really fell off. Monster freaking game. 6 steals, 2 blocks. I dropped him. I hate myself. Kelly Oubre also, a lot of overlap. They ran real tight here. Basically almost a 7-man rotation. You could tell Steve Kerr is really ratcheting up his guys right now because he wants to win. You know, they're trying to get into the play-in and move up a little bit higher there. So, yeah, we know Wiggins is playing 40s. So those guys are looking like they're ticketed for huge minutes. Big revenge game for Kelly Oubre, too. 24 points from him. The Knicks are back, baby. Overtime win against the Hawks. Julius Randle, another 40 ball on the Hawks. I mean, Julius Randle is going to make All-NBA. Pretty much a lock for most improved player. Thibodeau's pretty good case for Coach of the Year. Really not much fantasy analysis here. We had Nerlens Noel get hit in the face, did return. Also, Taj Gibson, cut on his eyelid, did not return. So that actually got Norvell Powell in the lineup a little bit. But obviously, Noel was great. Really good rim protection. Obviously, Capella killed him, but Noel certainly earning playing time. And also, Emmanuel quickly, big time off the bench. A lot of big buckets, plus 29. So he may be back on the radar. I wouldn't be too aggressive on adding him, though. Hawks dropped this one. Headline here, Trae Young sprains his ankle, does not return, did not look great. Put a little bit of weight on it going to the locker room. And this guy bounced back really quickly from an ankle injury last year. So I think he'll be, maybe more to day. We'll see what happens with the MRI. Basically, I wouldn't rush to go add guys off this as bad as it looked because this is what we did last year and we were kind of wrong. But yeah, Brandon Goodwood, I would probably prefer him just a little bit for the short term until we find out more. But eventually guys that are coming back for the Hawks with all their depth that are hurt right now, that would cut into him because they'd rather run kind of their guys they trust more with McMillan. We'll see how maybe Pierce plays it. But so I like Lou Williams a little bit more. Obviously, Bogdan benefits huge if Trae misses time. Same with Kevin Huerter. John Collins also, who was on a minutes limit today, played 28 minutes in a back-to-back. Capella just killed the Knicks. He's just on fire. Had a fall, but he's all right. Easy win for Utah. They are not missing Donovan Mitchell at all. Ingles, Conley playing really well. Gobert being a bigger part of the offense as well. Not much to say besides that. Rockets, man, we've got Kevin Porter Jr. He is out for at least a couple more for protocol. So it's kind of the 7-day variety where he kind of did something where he shouldn't have. So he may be back next week, but you're not getting him back this week, kind of like what James Weissman did earlier in the season. So we got Armani Brooks get 35 minutes, did nothing with them, missed everything. Well, obviously John Wall chucked, and Jayshawn Tate also chucked. He was really the guy that kind of soaked up more of the usage in kind of an interesting matchup. Runs a little bit of point now, too, so certainly think Jayshawn Tate's upside on a nightly basis goes up quite a bit with Kevin Porter banged up, and we'll see if John Wall maybe misses another game. Mavs get the win. Injury here, Maxi Kleber comes off the bench after Rick Carlisle kind of hinted at a lineup change. Hurts his back, doesn't return. Dwight Powell started, didn't do anything as they generally went smaller with more Jalen Brunson to mix in off the bench. We know that they like Brunson. They'll play him in most matchups, not so much against the Lakers, so I wouldn't be too eager to play him today. With Kleber unlikely, would probably expect a little bit more of Nicolo Melli, aka Peanut Butter Melli time. And, keep an eye on Kristaps and Luka for the back-to-back. But this game is huge. They really need to beat the Lakers here. Pistons do have Corey Joseph, 36 minutes from him. He said he struggled with the bronchitis in the first half, so I would assume he's out. Killian Hayes is back. Killian Hayes got in the 30s in the last game. Would expect that to happen again. Probably going to expect Mason Plumlee, who played pretty well today, 13, 16, and 7. He probably goes away, so it'll be Isaiah Stewart Day, a.k.a. Beef Stew. We'll see what happens with Diallo, all these other guys. But, yeah, pretty much Isaiah Stewart was really the headline here. Jeremy Grant played pretty well, especially early. He probably gets managed in the back-to-back, so we'll see what happens with all this. Heat get the win as I am shattering my 10-minute rule more than before. Lots going on here. We had the Heat getting their guys back. Bam Adebayo return looked totally great, especially early on. 23-8-5, no concerns for me there. Jimmy Butler looked really confident to me, bouncier, confident shooting, 11 assists, love what I saw out of him. Tyler Hero, clutch shots late, kind of came through, 22 for him. Kendrick Nunn still got the minutes. Obviously, the usage is going to fall off. He's really just kind of a one-dribble drive guy now, open three kind of a guy. So those assists that we saw pop for a little bit are going to kind of go away. And then Trevor Ariza's usage goes bye-bye. So he's kind of a drop, although he kind of had a nice little run there. We saw this assist kind of coming around. So definitely a guy you can consider dropping. They do have a decent amount of games coming up, so just kind of figure out how it fits in your lineup. Spurs couldn't get anything going. 87 points from them. Nothing really to say here. Only thing that I thought was interesting before the game, Popovich kind of talked about like what a pro DeRozan was, and then talked up Lonnie Walker a little bit. So tinfoil hat time. Like, I think DeMar sits today, among somebody else. Also, Popovich said that like he disagrees with the NBA's resting policy. So they might rest a bunch of guys today. So keep your eye on that for news today. The win, solid game from Joker, 25-9-5. Nothing really to say there. MPJ Fuego to start. Kind of went away after that. Didn't have his usual rotation in the second half either. Certainly don't panic there. And then the guard rotation's a mess. Got Facu, got Dozier, kind of playing more of a wing. Austin Rivers in the mix was more of a wing as well. Shaq Harrison was more of Facu's backup. But this is a mess. So I'm kind of out on this point guard situation for now. Blazers get Dame back, scores 22. Missed a lot of those little in-the-lane shots he really likes, so didn't shoot the ball great. 9-23, obviously the 37 minutes is the highlight. You got to feel great about him going forward. Certainly expect CJ's usage to dip. Plenty of minutes for him and Norman Powell. Rocco back up there after that little dip off. Nurkic also minute spike here, 29 minutes in revenge game. So he's looking a lot better now. I don't expect him playing back-to-backs, though. Clippers get the win without Paul George, who rested. Also, no Rajon Rondo. Also, no Reggie Jackson, who did not play in this one. So we got some cup of coffee. Amir Coffey got the start, 28 minutes, didn't do anything. Luke Kennard had a goose egg, a negative even in his first rotation. Still comes out for a season-high 28 points, 6 threes, stellar shooting there. Terrence Mann started at point guard, 34 minutes, 19, 6, and 7. We know Mann can really get going when he kind of finds his groove. Yogi Ferrell makes his debut off the bench, gets 20 minutes. Saw a lot of key late minutes here as well. Markieff Morris still got a full workload, got 25 points from him. Nothing really to say here. They only have one more game left this week, and obviously Paul will be back, so not really running to pick these guys up. Grizzlies do get Jaren Jackson back. Played pretty much 6-minute stints until later in the game, kind of hung in there. Great defensive. We thought he moved around really well. 4 blocks, 8 boards. Wasn't really moving too much on offense. Was kind of sitting in the corner a lot and being late in action and really counting on his offensive rebounding, which is great. But I mean, hey, 18 minutes off the bat, got to feel pretty good about that number. So he probably gets low 20s there. But this guy can block some shots. So overall, really encouraging first game from him. That's going to cut into your wings a little bit because they're going to go generally a little bit bigger, sliding Kyle Anderson up a little bit more. Anderson, obviously, a little bit of a loser here as well. But man, finally, we got Jaren Jackson Jr. back in our lives. And our lives are better now. Kings get the win. Silly finish in this one. De'Aaron Fox, after getting capped on minutes, goes 30-9 minutes. Did not see that coming. But he healed. Major bounce back game. Hit a lot of key shots in this one. Scores 29. Really needed a good game from him, and he got it. So good for him. To Harrison Barnes, big run. Probably headline fantasy-wise here is bye-bye Hassan Whiteside. Started, didn't do anything with that playing time. We saw Damian Jones close, make some big plays late in this game as well. Also, Rashawn Holmes doing on-court work. Also, Marvin Bagley has an update coming as well. So, there's not a lot of games coming up for the Kings, so I have Whiteside. I'm dropping him the first chance I get. He may have a nice little run kind of here and there, but he's pretty much bye-bye. Wolves really should have had this one. Obviously, the fantasy headline here is Naz Reid going bonkers, 24.7 boards, got a block, couple threes. Chris Finch has talked about this a lot. He wants to play Naz Reid with Cat when he has opportunities to do so. So keep that in mind. He's not a run, don't walk kind of pickup with this game. But when the Wolves are playing those bigger teams, Naz is going to find his way to low 20s minutes, I feel like, especially after how he played today. So that certainly will affect your Okogis, McDaniels a little bit, who's been pretty quiet. I'm fine dropping him given their lack of games coming up. So keep all this stuff in mind. But yeah, I definitely think Naz will find some more playing time. To the ads page, a lot going on, a lot you got to think about here. Look at these schedules. So I've got the Raptors up top with Kem Birch and Freddie Gillespie, although again, they only play one more game this week. They are loaded next week. So if you need guys this week, those probably aren't your guys. However, you're in a bye. If you feel like you got it locked up this week, yeah, I really like Gillespie and Birch a lot. Cameron Johnson, certainly from the Jay Crowder injury, at least for this game. Naz Reid, really like what he did. Mentioned Finch talking about wanting to play him and Cat in non-small lineups on the other side. So the awesome game from him. They've been pretty good together too, so expect that to trend up. Bruce Brown mentioned previously. Oshae Brissett, this is kind of where I have him priority-wise. Expect him to be kind of okay, just not ridiculously good like he was tonight. Prefer Brandon Goodwin over Lou by a slight margin for short-term value. Jalen Brunson also kind of a pickup with the Maxi Kleber stuff. KJ Martin, I actually kind of prefer over Armani Brooks. We know KJ could block some shots. May know quickly, give him a shot. See what happens. I guess if I wanted a Denver point guard to be Faco, but I'm not running out to get him. And then Corey Joseph is on the bottom here because he's going to sit back-to-backs. But looks great. So that's it. I did not keep this to 10 minutes today. So you guys take care. Catch you tomorrow.